And you think you can beat me? I am Kang!
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and today we're going to reveal Marvel's original plans for Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, Kang the Conqueror, and what they were originally going to do with the Multiverse Saga. We're going to discuss what was supposed to happen on our journey to Avengers: Secret Wars, and what the plans were for Kang conquering the multiverse, as well as how Loki, Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness were all going to connect and tell the story of the Multiversal War.
The peace between reality erupted into all-out war.
And we think we know what parts of that original plan are still happening with Dr. Doom now at the helm as the new villain of the Multiverse Saga. And before we get going, I want to remind you guys that we are going on tour. Colton, myself, and the team are traveling the country with our ScreenCrush live show, and we're coming to a city near you. Our first show is in Boston, November 14th. Tickets are on sale now, and they're selling out fast. We cannot wait to meet you guys in person and geek out together about all of our favorite movies and TV shows. Get tickets at the link in the description, along with a link to our Discord. So with all the talk around Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday movie, it's easy to forget that not all that long ago, Jonathan Majors and Kang were all the rage. And he was the one thing about the post-Endgame MCU that had everybody excited. There was real hype for this character and his role in the Multiverse Saga. Some of our top performing videos over the past few years were theory videos on the sheer possibilities of a story with Kang the Conqueror fighting against the Avengers. I mean, remember guys how awesome it was when Jonathan Majors was introduced as He Who Remains, a Kang variant in Loki Season 1? And that eerie ending of the first season with the Kang statue had everybody pumped for the arrival of Kang. But then came Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
You think this is new to me? Do you know how many rebellions I have put down? How many Avengers I've killed?
Now, I personally enjoyed Quantumania, but there's no question the film was a box office flop, and it did not turn Kang into a terrifying villain. And I think Majors gave a great performance as the Conqueror. He was terrifying at times, but let's be honest, he really should have killed Ant-Man if he was the big bad of the Multiverse Saga.
What?
So I think that despite Quantumania's shortcomings, the MCU could still successfully have landed the plane with a Kang-centric saga. So it's puzzling to know that Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios were actually already considering dropping Kang and switching to Dr. Doom even before the legal issues with Jonathan Majors arose. See, following the arrest of Jonathan Majors and the eventual guilty verdict, Marvel Studios officially parted ways with Majors. Avengers: The Kang Dynasty was temporarily retitled to just Avengers 5. Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton was moved out of the director's chair and is now slated to direct Spider-Man 4. And remember, Ant-Man 3 screenwriter Jeff Loveness was originally the Avengers 5 writer, and he was removed from that role. Loveness was reportedly Marvel's Kang guy. So with Loveness being ousted and not being reassigned to another adjacent project like Destin Daniel Cretton, one could then take that to mean that Marvel was taking a very different direction from their original plans with Kang. Now, despite Marvel resetting, they still had Loki Season 2 in the can, a season that was very Jonathan Majors-centric.
Thinking you were sticking it to the system, gonna beat the man, and then whoop, here he is.
And look, man, say what you will about Jonathan Majors, and believe me, there is a lot to say about that guy, but he was absolutely fantastic in Loki, and he damn near stole the show in the second season. The second season of Loki did so much for this saga that would have gotten fans even more pumped for Kang's war with the Avengers, but unfortunately, that season was burdened by the fact that we knew this was all set up that was likely going nowhere.
What a waste of time.
The Loki series did more for the Multiverse Saga than any other multiverse project Marvel was putting out. Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Quantumania all paled in comparison to the masterpiece that was Loki Season 1 and 2. This show on its own was a kick-ass science fiction series, but its implications for the greater MCU were also phenomenal, and did a better job than any of those aforementioned films at setting up what was to come with Kang and the next Avengers movies. And it's honestly too bad that all of that build-up, lore, and world building may have been for naught. Or was it? Sure, we don't have Kang anymore, but Loki's introduction to the TVA and the Void at the end of time will likely still have a big role to play moving forward. Now guys, like I said, we have some inside sources that we can't reveal, but they're people that we trust who have info on what was going to happen before they shifted away from Kang. But it's also important to keep in mind how everything you read on the internet isn't true. Unfortunately, most of the leaks we read about on Twitter and Reddit aren't real, and they're usually just made up. And the same is true for a lot of our media landscape when it comes to getting news about politics and about the world in general, where the media's profit bias has divided us up into these separate camps, and the real news is often hidden behind algorithms. And that's why I've been using Straight Arrow News. Straight Arrow News is an app and website that shows you all stories with facts free of bias. These journalists are standing out from other news organizations by not only highlighting left and right-leaning opinions, but also by giving an unbiased view of stories and events across both sides of the aisle. Certain stories have a gauge that shows you the story's media landscape reporting, so you can can see which way the story's bias is leaning. Straight Arrow News also keeps you informed with news in real time. I especially love their Media Mist tool that allows me to discover what stories are being underreported in the media. For instance, I had no idea that Elon Musk sent Starlink terminals to help North Carolina to help hurricane victims, or that former Trump aide Cassidy Hutchinson has now endorsed Kamala Harris. You see, I'm tired of media organizations using wedge issues to divide us, to drive up engagement and pump us full of fear so we'll constantly tune in. Straight Arrow News cuts through all of that bias and fear-mongering and gives you the straight facts, the sources, and lets you stay informed. I also love their video stories. They're well edited, straight to the point, and a great way to summarize news if I'm cleaning or, just getting ready in the morning. So, to download Straight Arrow News' app or visit the website, click my link in the section below, and believe me guys, you will not regret it. Now, back to what I was saying. Now, it was reported that the Loki finale was rewritten following everything that went down with Majors, and honestly, when you watch the second season, it does feel like they reworked things just to have Kang sort of fade into the background. And hey, in their defense, I think they handled it pretty well. Having the character essentially be written out of time is very on theme for the series itself, and even for the Multiverse Saga.
But hey, Ryan, even that seemingly concise ending couldn't keep Kang's exit from feeling a little anticlimactic after all of that buildup.
That's it?
That's it.
Contrary to those original reports, I've actually heard some insider information that claims the Loki Season 2 finale was not rewritten and that the original plan was always for the season to end with the Kangs being dealt with and seemingly no longer a threat, and with Loki on the throne. Now, despite Loki Season 2 seemingly giving the impression that the Kangs were handled, we'd still get the impression that they are out there and they are still a threat, but that the TVA was still monitoring them closely. Take this scene with Mobius in B-15, for example, where they reference the defeat of Quantumania's Kang.
I guess one of them caused a little bit of a ruckus on 616 adjacent realm, but they handled it.
Avengers: The Kang Dynasty would continue this on a larger scale with the Council of Kangs attacking Earth 616, the mainline MCU, and our Earth's team of Avengers would fight them, which would mean that the consequences of Loki and Sylvie's actions in the Loki series would have the consequences that He Who Remains warned of.
An infinite amount of me start another multiversal war.
I think it's clear that the multiversal war He Who Remains said happened in the past, and the one that he warned would happen again, is the exact same war we were going to see in Avengers: The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. He Who Remains' ultimate plan was essentially flawless. Either Loki would listen and maintain the sacred timeline, a timeline that existed in an Ouroboros of sorts, meaning a circle of events that happen again and again and again. Or Sylvie would kill him, the multiversal war would ensue, the Kangs would go to war just like they had in the past.
And I just end up right back here anyways.
So according to our sources, the Kang that died in Quantumania was really dead following getting sucked into his power core. But part of me still believes that the Kang the Conqueror from Quantumania was going to be the same Kang we'd see in Kang Dynasty and of course in Secret Wars, and the same Kang that would go on to become He Who Remains after winning the multiversal war. It's been reported that essentially we'd see the arrival of a prime Kang in Avengers Kang Dynasty, similar to the version of Kang from the Ultimate Comics. This Kang wouldn't be the main villain of Kang Dynasty, but he would ultimately be the Kang to defeat his variants, the Council of Kangs, and he would be almost a god-level Kang, an omnipotent type Kang in Avengers Secret Wars, similar to that of the Beyonder from the original Secret Wars comics, or God Emperor Doom in the 2015 Secret Wars. Now, Marvel is no stranger to combining characters. I mean, the MCU's He Who Remains is literally a culmination of the Kang variant Immortus and a completely separate comic character called He Who Remains that had no connection to Kang in the comics. So it would have made sense if in the MCU we got a Beyonder Kang hybrid, or even a God Emperor Kang in the same vein as Doom. In Kang Dynasty, we likely would have seen the Avengers defending Earth from the Council of Kangs, who would be following up on this scene in Quantumania, where Immortus warned of seemingly the Avengers beginning to touch the multiverse.
They're beginning to touch the multiverse.
Kang Prime would then roll in, defeat his variants, but then proceed with his plan of destroying all of time and space so that he could recreate it according to his own design, which would be the sacred timeline. And there's evidence of this in Quantumania when Kang shares his plans with Janet on how to save the multiverse through conquering.
That's what conquerors do. They burn the broken world and they make a new one.
We even see him holding his vision of a sacred timeline in the palm of his hand. That's why I still personally believe, or at least it's my headcanon, that the Kang from Quantumania would go on to become He Who Remains. So, following the multiversal war and the destruction of the multiverse, Kang Prime and the Avengers would find themselves in the void at the end of time, which we think would have served as the MCU's Battleworld. In the comics, the Avengers are transported to Battleworld, a planet that is a concoction of various worlds. And what is the void if not a concoction of various worlds all piled together? Kang would then tame Elias. Remember, Elias is in the void. He's that big purple cloud monster.
Elias is in this thing? From Loki season 1, episode 5?
Now, in the void, we would have seen heroes from across the multiverse team up with our main Earth 616 Avengers to take on Kang and restore the multiverse. Heroes such as the Spider-Mans, Deadpool and Wolverine, and the Fantastic Four.
Colton, I want to pause you there because I think you're touching on a key aspect of why I think Marvel even greenlit the Multiverse Saga to begin with.
Wow, you really paused him good. Cool.
So Colton just mentioned that in Secret Wars we would have seen the Avengers accompanied by other multiversal heroes going up against Kang. And we do actually have a reliable inside source who has confirmed that that was the plan. And that really drives home the fact that the whole point of this saga was so that they could bring in old IP like the Fox X-Men. Like, one of Kevin Feige's first jobs in Hollywood was as an associate producer on the first Fox X-Men film. And it's clear that he really wanted to see characters like Patrick Stewart's Professor Xavier and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine play in the MCU. I mean, come on, who among us hasn't dumped out all of our action figures into one big pile so they could be split into teams and fight? So this plan for the Multiverse Saga to be the Memberberry Saga was driven home even more with a new character like Jonathan Majors Kang being swapped out for a returning Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. The return of Robert Downey Jr. is part of the same game plan to pluck those nostalgia strings by bringing back familiar faces. And you know what? That's fine by me. I think following a global pandemic, a violent insurrection at the nation's capital, and an attempted assassination of a former president, we could all use a little comforting trip back in time to when things seem simpler. And what a better way to go than on an adventure with our favorite heroes from the golden age of comic book movies. We've actually got a great video up on the channel right now that explains the overall theme of the Multiverse Saga and how it's all about the choices we make, and how Robert Downey Jr. as Doom perfectly represents that theme, perhaps even better than Kang the Conqueror would have. Oh, and by the way guys, we do have some awesome merch up on our ScreenCrush merch store right now, such as the variant shirt, Mephisto Confirmed. We have our Joker collection with the Monday shirt and the card on the front and back, and the Murray Franklin Bloodstained mug and t-shirt. We also have our Agatha collection and many, many more. Shopping our merch store is the best way to directly support our channel. We have a blast making these designs for you. The links are below. So anyway, in the original plot for the Multiverse Saga, we can assume that Kang would have been defeated and that the Avengers would have found a way to reconstruct the multiverse so that it would flourish and then be free from the constraints of Kang and total annihilation.
Wow, that sounds awesome. So that's not going to happen anymore?
Well, buddy, I think we can actually anticipate a lot of these same events to happen in the retitled Avengers 5, Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars. I think instead of Kang rising from the ashes following his defeat at the hands of Loki, we'll see Dr. Doom fill those shoes and serve as a multiversal conqueror. He'll attack the mainline MCU Earth just like Kang would have. And ultimately, the multiverse will be destroyed and they'll find themselves in the void or battle world where the Avengers will have to fight a very powerful God Emperor Doom to save reality, just like in the 2015 Secret Wars comics. We'll still get to see faces like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Tobey and Andrew's Spider-Man, and hell, maybe even Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, but they'll all be going up against another familiar face in Robert Downey Jr.
Shut up and take my money!
So as excited as we all were for what Marvel had planned with Kang, I think we can still expect a really great multiversal story with similar beats as the original plan. But hopefully this reshuffling will be a little bit more simple and to the point, instead of getting bogged down in all of the confusing timey-wimey stuff that I think was just a little too much for casual fans. Colton, the guy who's trapped in our television but doesn't know it, so please don't tell him, did you have anything you wanted to add?
He's still paused.
Oh, right.
I can't breathe when you do that.
So guys, let us know, did you like what was originally planned for the Multiverse Saga? Do you think that Avengers Doomsday will follow a similar path? And are you excited to see Doom as the new villain, or do you wish they had stuck with a recast Kang? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, or at me or Colton on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.